This is a Hot Pie Original. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the DNP-CD Sports Podcast presented by OddsShark. I'm Chad Fisher, alongside my co-host, Tony Farmer. What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good today, man. We've had a lot of really good guests recently, and I feel like the show has been pretty successful so far. It's kind of an exciting time to be around the DNP-CD Podcast, and we got another awesome guest again today.
A guy that we grew up watching play, and excited to talk to him. Talking about Greg Ellis, former Cowboy, former Raider, now the coach at Texas College. This guy I remember distinctly when I was a youngster watching him play and everything like that. So it's going to be nice to pick his brain, talk about some of those guys that we watched growing up, you know, and see who he still keeps in touch with, the guys that influence him, what it's like playing for Jerry Jones, what it's like playing for the Cowboys in general.
What's it like playing with Terrell Owens?
Yeah.
I mean, lots to talk about.
He played for two amazingly iconic franchises, two of the most rabid fan bases in the NFL. So it's going to be great to talk to him, pick his brain a little bit, and see what that was like.
Absolutely. Before we get there, though, Chad, will you tell folks a little bit about one of our favorite sponsors, OddsShark?
Definitely. OddsShark is your source for the latest odds from leading authorities, expert editorial content, the hottest sports news, and detailed matchup picks. Looking for statistics and trends for an upcoming game? OddsShark has that too, and it's free. In-depth expert analysis, odds, and trends to help you make the sharp game day picks. They got decades of stats in their databases, and their insiders give you takes so hot they sizzle. They gotta love this, man, you know. They're your one-stop shop for all your odds info on sports and pop culture events. Want to get a better understanding of the odds and the math behind the numbers, how the line is set, why do the lines move during the week on the NFL odds list? OddsShark will give you all the tools you need. They're a proven industry powerhouse. OddsShark has info from around the globe, giving you the chance to access the best sports odds on the planet. Whether you want to check out tonight's football odds, this week's hockey or basketball trends, or anything in between, head on over to OddsShark and start thinking like a shark today. Go-to resource, man. If you're going to make a bet, you got to go to OddsShark, because if you don't know, when you go to OddsShark, they've got the odds from a plethora of different sites, a bunch of different sites. And so you can look and see how the odds are different from each one of those sites. You can compare and contrast. Make sure you're getting the best number, because this has the potential to make you or lose you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And it's the worst, man. If you place a bet, you win big, and then you go, damn, dog, I could have got a better number if I'd have looked at OddsShark and went to a different place, you know. So you want to go there. As we said in the ad, they got awesome editorial content. They're going to tell you about, they're going to teach you how to bet. They're going to tell you about some of the odds, some of the trends and everything like that. If you don't know a lot about boxing, they got a bunch of boxing articles on there to kind of give you a little primer and everything.
And like you said, it's absolutely free. They're doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you, so you might as well check it out, give you a little bit of an edge on some of these sports bets that you're making. But speaking of OddsShark, Chad, I want to talk a little bit about the NFC East future lines that are out right now on these various websites. If you could pull up the OddsShark website if you haven't already, let's talk about what numbers are up there right now, and you and I can kind of give some betting opinions.
Since we got Greg Ellis on the show, former Cowboy, we're going to go through the NFC East, and we got Dallas right now. They opened at minus 120. Now they're up to plus 115, 150 even, and 105. So big
plus
difference.
150 is the best line there? Okay.
Best one there. The Giants are at, they opened at plus 550. They're now anywhere from plus 450 to plus 325. Big difference there.
For sure. And for those of you who are novice bettors and saying, what the heck are these numbers? Plus 425 would be $10, wins you $42.50. Plus 350 would be $10, wins you $35.
Yeah. So the Eagles, they started at plus 260. They are now anywhere from plus 650 all the way down to plus 425. Huge difference, man. This is why you got to go to OddsShark, brother. A lot of people will not know this. If you're just sticking to one site, you're going to get screwed out of some money, man.
So right now, I can get about 6-1 odds on the Eagles right now.
Yeah, which is crazy on a couple different sites. And then there's one site that has them at plus 4.25. So plus 425 there. And then the Washington football team, they opened at plus 550, and they're anywhere from, plus 260 all the way down to plus 160. So big difference again, man. That's a lot of money. You throw down $100 to win $260 or $160. It's a big difference, man. It's 30 or 40%. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to go over to OddsShark. Check out all that information. Who are you liking in the NFC East?
All right. Without the odds, if I had to pick one team, I'd go with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
With the odds, I like the line that you gave me for the Eagles right there.
Yeah.
Honestly, the NFC East is a shit show, folks.
Yeah.
Like, would you be shocked if any of those 4 teams walked out of that division the winners?
Yeah, would not be surprised if the Giants won even.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't know. I mean, they got a second-year head coach now, and so you couldn't be shocked if any of those things happened. So that's why I say take the team with the best odds. And apparently, I'm actually surprised to hear it's the Eagles. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, they're kind of all. There's not a lot of separation with a lot of these teams. I mean, you look around like the NFC North, for example. There's some teams that are plus 320 all the way to plus 1800. That's a massive difference. Here in the NFC East, very small difference in numbers there.
Hell, all those teams could end up with a losing record this year. Who knows?
They probably will. They probably will. Who knows? But if Dallas is healthy, if Dak Prescott is healthy, obviously
that offensive line, if that offensive line is healthy.
And if that defense has made any strides, they got Micah Parsons out of Penn State as a first-round pick. I believe he's number 12 overall. They're looking for him to make an immediate impact. It's going to be interesting to see how that defense is getting shored up and the changes they made. They got a new defensive coordinator in there this year, Dan Quinn, formerly with the Falcons, also formerly with the Seahawks. It's going to be interesting to see every division race in the NFL. This is going to be a great NFL season, dude. One of, if not the best I've seen in a long time. There's so much parity, which is true almost every single year. There's a lot of parity this year. It's going to be really exciting. So make sure you head over to OddsShark. Check out those numbers. They move all the time, so you want to make sure you keep an eye on those. But now's a good time to start looking at some of these division winners, man, because I feel like that's a great bet to do. You got 4 teams there.
Fun.
You're not picking who's going to win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You're picking who's going to win that division. So I think that's an awesome place to start.
And it makes those division matchups during the season a little more interesting and exciting. Even when your team that you've picked isn't playing, you're still rooting against other teams, so it's fun.
It definitely does. So make sure you head on over to OddsShark.com. That's OddsShark.com. Make sure you tell them the DNP-CD Sports podcast sent you. And place a bet, man. That's what makes sports so much more fun. The sports are already fun as all get out. You place some money down, man.
Yeah, and OddsShark has these promotions where you can go through other websites and get a bonus so that you got a little more money to play with through OddsShark. So,
ain't messing around. So make sure you check those guys out, everybody. All right, let's go ahead and bring in our guest.
Our next guest was selected with the 8th overall pick by the Dallas Cowboys in the 1998 NFL Draft out of UNC, where he left as the school's all-time leading sack artist and was All-ACC and an All-American. He's a former Pro Bowler and team captain who led Dallas in sacks 7 times and left the Cowboys number 3 on their all-time sack list. He finished with a career-high 84 sacks, 23 forced fumbles, 10 fumble recoveries, 4 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns. He also started 155 games for the Cowboys and was named the NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2007. After retiring, he started Play Now Production Company, which produced the awesome 2015 film Carter High, as well as the plays Juneteenth and Watch Night. He's now the head football coach at Texas College. Please welcome to the show, Greg Ellis. Greg, how are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm trying to live up to all those amazing things that you just said about me.
Yeah, I was just going to say, man, you got a long list of accomplishments. You're like a straight up Renaissance man. You got any advice for females too? What do I got to do to get my girl to stop eating off my plate, man?
Hey, I stay out of that area.
You do taxes too, man? What's going on? Dang, you wear many hats.
Well, yeah, it's kind of the tax thing is kind of tough,
Yeah, for sure. Hey, brother, I still remember when you were drafted by the Cowboys, and a lot of their fans wanted them to take Randy Moss at that time. I want to ask you, did that put an extra chip on your shoulder going into your career, knowing that a lot of the fan base was a little upset at the pick?
No, it actually, for me, it didn't, and here's why. Because I was focusing in on how to become the best possible player that I could become for the Dallas Cowboys. And so I just took my energy and I didn't pay any attention to it. And here we are. I've been retired now probably for about 11, 12 years. And people still talk about the Randy Moss saga, if you would. So I know and glad that I spent my energy on focusing in on Greg Ellis and how can I be the best football player that I can be versus focusing in on a Randy Moss. Because if I had did it the other way around, then I think, it probably would really bother me. But I never focus on it. I make jokes about it. I tell people, Randy Moss has obviously got a bunch of touchdowns. But how many quarterback sacks does Randy Moss have?
0, yeah.
None, right?
Yep.
Now most people are going to say, well, duh, he has no quarterback sacks, but he got touchdowns. How many touchdowns do you have, Greg? I'm like, yes, I have something in his category.
Yeah.
He didn't have anything in my category.
That's exactly right, brother.
You got the touchdowns and the sacks. I like that, man.
There you go.
You played 11 years with Dallas and you ended your career with Raiders. That year, you had a great season. You finished with 7 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries. Can you talk to us a little bit about moving on from Dallas? A lot of time has passed since then. For some people, it's important for them to stay with one team their whole career, not the case for other people. Can you talk to us a little bit about that breakup?
To me, I consider it a blessing. I think everybody to experience the NFL, I think it's good if you get to play for more than one team. Now, to be able to stay on one team as long as I was fortunate and blessed to, I think is huge. I wouldn't trade that for the world, but I wouldn't know what it was like, being on other teams had I not have gone and experienced the Oakland Raiders, which is a great franchise, but just extremely different, if you would. But there are 2 of the best historical franchises of the NFL. I look at it as, the opportunity to play Dallas Cowboys with the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones, one of probably the best marketing strategists in the NFL, probably in NFL history, to be honest with you. But Al Davis, for as his coaching experience, you got the viewership from the owner's seat totally different with those 2 guys. And Al was really pioneering when you talk about coaching in the NFL, actually.
You talked about the differences with the organizations. Can you talk to us a little bit more specifically about what those were? Were there any things that you got in there and you're like, oh, wow, this is not what I was expecting when you first got there, the cultural things or whatever it may be?
The fan bases were extremely different. As you guys know, both of them are extremely strong fan base, but they're extremely different, meaning the Cowboys fan base was and still is more like a college fan base. Like, just by being on the Dallas Cowboys team, people are going to recognize you in that area. Oakland team, you don't get that. You do get, tremendous support on that national level with Oakland, with the Raiders, I should say. The radical fans that show up at the game, that type of thing. But Cowboys is more like that college environment, that college town, if you would. Raiders was more like, okay, we're radical and it's a lot of us all around the country. But we're not here every day of the week, patting you on your back saying, let's go kind of deal. Now, since I've been retired, the Raiders, and both of them, but the Raiders, I think, is second to none when it comes to showing their support for being the Raiders. Now, here's why I think they're committed to doing that, because the late Al Davis motto was once a Raider, always a Raider. And that has circulated around the country, literally. And that organization has adopted that. And when I say that, case in point, as you guys know, they built a new stadium for Raiders. They seeing me, and I'm thinking, man, I only played 1 year with you guys, and they still sent me this kind of slate or granite trophy with your name carved in it and all that kind of stuff as honoring you for your contributions to the new stadium.
Wow.
Right. And not necessarily that I've given money towards the new stadium, but just the fact that, like, once you're a Raider, you're always a Raider. The things that you did while you was a Raider has contributed to us getting to this point. And they still recognize, like, everybody, I guess, I'm pretty sure some type of cutoff point, but You think about a person like me, I only played there for one season, and they still remember, still invite me to the cookouts.
That's awesome, man.
Sweet.
You're like, I should have played a couple more years. Maybe I'll get an Oldsmobile or something, man.
There you go.
But, Coach, I've always wanted to know this. I want to know what it's like playing for Jerry Jones. We live here in Austin, and I have a lot of course, I have a lot of friends that are Cowboys fans. This might not be the consensus amongst all Cowboys fans, but a lot of my friends have told me that sometimes they think Jerry's a little bit too involved and that the team would be better off going out and getting an outside general manager to run things. What was your experience like with Jerry Jones, and what's your opinion on that, if he's like, a little too involved, or does he have the mindset and the expertise to be the general manager as well?
Well, here's the thing. As much time that Jerry has been playing the role that he's playing, he's an experienced general manager.
True.
People don't look at it from that point of view, but I'm like, well, he's been doing it for a long time, so he has the experience. And I tell people this: Jerry actually likes football. You know what I mean? He really likes football. He loves football, and so you have to understand this man played college football, and had he had and I don't want to put him down, but the athletic ability to play pro football, he would have played pro football. So he's really into football. His intentions are well when it comes to wanting the Cowboys to do good. Now, so some of you guys in the radio world are thinking, okay, well, he's still kissing up. Jerry must be still paying him. You won't feel that way after I'm about to say this part.
Okay.
One of the things that stands in a person like Jerry's way is the business side of it, okay? And you guys know, and the world knows, Jerry is an amazing businessman, period, for his making money. I'll put it to you very simple. Jerry is in, oil and gas business, and I'll kind of go back when everybody was drilling for oil. The thing that I would say Jerry can be guilty of that can hurt him, that in my opinion does hurt him, is that on a drill rig, oil rig, if you would, if that you go out and you buy a new transmission for that oil rig, you're quite natural. You're going to take the old transmission out. You're going to plug the new one in because you spent your money on the new transmission, and you're expecting that transmission to produce at a higher level. Sometimes Jerry can be guilty of doing that with his team, right? Yep. Somebody sent me a clip that Marcus Spears, who works, I think it's ESPN, I think. And Marcus said, he said, and I didn't say it, somebody said it to me, said that when he came in, they were getting rid of one of his veteran players. And he said Greg Ellis, and Greg went on to the Raiders and still was playing good football and all that stuff. That's an example. And I know Jerry done that to other guys before I got there. So I say it like this, and I understand it from the business point of view. From Jerry's point of view, he's simply saying, I bought a new transmission. The new transmission is not going to sit on the sidelines. The new transmission has to go in. And people sometimes around Jerry is saying, yeah, Jerry, we know it. But the old transmission still works better than the new one right now. So sometimes he can be guilty of that tunnel vision of saying, nope, bought a new transmission. We're going to get rid of the old transmission, put the new transmission in. That's what we're going to do. Business that works, but sometimes, and the NFL is a business in itself. We all understand that. But sometimes I would say that gets in his way sometimes of what he truly wants to happen with the Cowboys.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side. And then not only that, taking into account how those parts fit together with the other parts as well. You know, if you got a guy that's football's a team sport, obviously, you know what I mean? This isn't golf, you know.
That's it.
So,
right there. Exactly.
Yeah, appreciate that insight, man. And the analogy helps out a lot, too. It's a really good analogy. Yeah. We recently had Ken Ruckers on our show. He played with the Packers for a little over 10 years. And he was telling us some stories about some pranks in the locker room of icy hot and the jock strap and baby powder and the helmet. And I'm curious, man, in your 12 years that you played in the league, anything funny like that any memories that you have of shenanigans in the locker room?
I can't think of one. I guess I was so busy trying to keep pace with Randy Moss. I can't think of anyone. It's sad, though. I really can't think of any. Oh, man, I'm sorry, guys.
No worries, man. I put you on the spot. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, no, and I should have some, but like I tell my players here at Texas College, when I played, I was a student of the game. Bill Parcells summed it up. Bill, I forgot who we played, but I guess Bill felt like I had a good game. And we were in the team meeting after the game, the next day. And Bill told the team, he said, guys, I want everybody to look at this Ellis kid. And he was talking about me. And he said, he's not that big. He's not that strong. He's not that fast. And I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, are you giving me a compliment or what? Right? You said all this negative stuff. He's not that big, he's not that strong, he's not that fast. I'm like, okay, when are you going to get to the good part? Yeah. And the thing he said was, but he outworks them. He just outworks everybody. And so sticking with that, I realized I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, and I wasn't the biggest. I'm probably, I gained some weight, so I'm probably one of the biggest ones now. But when I was playing, I certainly wasn't the biggest. And so in doing that, you had to make it up somewhere. And for me, it was just spending time in the film room. And so I didn't do the extra stuff. I was film, study. And that, so I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
Yeah, you were busy. You were busy becoming the third all-time leading sack leader.
Well, and you were a team captain too, so maybe they were doing that stuff behind the scenes, and they didn't want you to find out because they knew you would have squashed it. Maybe.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's probably right. You talked about Bill Parcells there. That's a guy that one of the most iconic coaches in NFL history. I want to know. I'm curious what it was like to play for him. He switched your position. And you weren't happy about that. We know that. Has that frustration faded over time, or is that something that you're still a little pissed off about?
No.
Yeah.
Bill and I.
It's about to get good.
We probably have one of the most interesting relationships, man. Probably his coaching history. I would say definitely my playing history. Because how Bill came in, if you would. And Bill admitted to us as players, he said, guys, when I first came here, I thought this place, I won't use the word he used, okay? Mm-hmm. But he just didn't think players were real serious about football. And he got rid of a lot of guys. And he said, but the more I spent time with you guys, I realized you do have some guys who are serious and want to be good football players and want this football team to win. And so once he got down to the core group that he felt like were guys who wanted to stay there and play and win, he rolled with us. And I tell people this about Bill Parcells. Bill, when he comes into a new place or you come into his world, he's not going to like you. Okay, now he won't say he don't like you, and he probably really doesn't dislike you, but you're definitely going to feel like he doesn't like you. Because he's not interested in what you're going to tell him. He's interested in what you're going to show me. And once you show me, and if it's the right stuff, then you're one of my guys. And once you become one of Bill Parcells' guys, he will bend over backwards for you if you're one of his guys. And I'm kind of like that myself. If I know you're my guy, then I'm going to go to blows for you. If you're not, I'm not going to dislike you. But, the respect level is different at that point.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's pretty fair, I think,
For sure.
Coach, you played with T.O., Terrell Owens. He's a very polarizing guy. A lot of people probably want to know what type of, to say the least. What type of teammate was T.O.?
You see, the thing about T.O., I guess I should write a book, kind of the story behind these guys' story. Yeah. T.O., to me, is a great teammate, right? And I tell people, T.O. can be honest to a fault. He speaks without a filter on his mouth. He say the things that people see and know that's going on, but won't say it. He's going to say it.
I got a little bit of that in me. I hear you.
You know what I mean? Yep. And so you may not like it, and it's not going to be politically correct, but he's going to say it. And that thing kind of hurts T.O. sometimes. But the thing about it is, I'm like, show me where he lied at. You know, like Donovan McNabb. Love Donovan. Been chasing Donovan around since I was at the University of North Carolina, and he was at Syracuse.
Yep.
Love him. Been making me miss him since then. But the comment he made, that Terrell made about Donovan, when they went to the Super Bowl, remember Terrell had a high ankle sprain early in the year. Matter of fact, Roy gave him a high ankle sprain when we played him up there. Roy Williams did. But T.O., he rehabs, and everybody thought he was going to be out for the whole season, missed the whole season, comes back and makes it to the playoffs, and they go to the Super Bowl, I think it was. But after the game, T.O. said a certain player obviously wasn't in shape because he was throwing up on the sidelines. Well, the world got mad because T.O. said that. I'm like, well, maybe you need to rewind the tape and see certain player throwing up. It's like, so he didn't lie. It may not have been the political correct thing to say about your teammate, but that happened. You know what I mean? So I to me, and some of the stuff that went on in Dallas, you know, you might didn't like it, but coming out of his mouth, he did tell the truth.
Yeah. You're talking about Donovan McNabb, right?
Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Well, you guys said that I didn't.
Yeah. He was a little chunky, too. He was a little chunky. All that Campbell's chunky soup, man, I think that had something to do with it.
Okay, Campbell's soup. Do not sue Greg Ellis. I didn't say that.
He's Chad Fisher in Austin, Texas.
He's still
That's
trying to get an endorsement
goes.
deal, man. Yeah. I don't blame you.
Oh, man. Hey, I was curious. Do you still follow the NFL closely today? I know you're super busy and you got your own head coaching gig now. I mean, do you still follow the game, the Cowboys?
So, no, not as nearly as much as I want to be honest with you. Because like you said, I'm super busy and I love football, love the NFL, love the Cowboys, Raiders. But I just don't take the time to cater my whole life around it right now. You know, just busy. Even before I came back into the coaching world, football world, I was, you know, doing the plays, the movies. I still write now and you know, in my drive time, if you would. So not as much as I want to. I love it. I'm not mad at the game, not mad at any one of my organizations that I play for. But I just time-wise, you know, life isn't over for me. When football was over, it was just transitioning to something else. The same habits, work ethic that I apply to football, I apply them to the other things in my life now, which limits me from watching football as much as I want to.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your career in the entertainment business here in a little bit. But I just want to throw my hat in the ring. If you ever need a goofy-ass white dude for anything, let me know. I can stand in the background, whatever you need, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're working on one. I might call you up.
Hit me up, brother. Hit me up, man.
Right down the road in Texas, man.
Yeah, I can be up. I can be in Tyler in a couple hours. You know,
Greg, I wanted to ask you, in your 12 years in the NFL, who are some of the iconic trash talkers that you remember on the field that you knew when you suited up against that you were going to get an earful? And I'm curious, were you a trash talker at all when you were on the field?
I wasn't a trash talker myself. Now, understand what I'm about to say. The guys who were trash talkers does not mean that I had a problem with them. Okay, some of them I love them and definitely respect them. But Warren Sapp, love and respect. And we're, as you know, both of us play defense. And I remember one time Tampa Bay came to Dallas to play us. And so the way our locker room was set up, so both of the locker rooms were kind of on this end, if you would, right? Opposite, but still same goal line, if you would. And we would come out, our stretch lines would be this side of the 50, this side of the 50. So normally teams run out of the visitor locker room. They run down that sideline and do whatever they're going to do. Man, Warren Sapp came straight out and just ran straight through our stretch drill routine. And I'm like, look at this dude, man. So Warren Sapp was a comical, and he obviously backed it up, you know, the Hall of Fame guy, trash talking guy. Who else? Big trash talking. You know, you don't get too many offensive guys. Yeah. Well, offensive linemen, they're not going to They're not going to say a whole lot. You know what I mean? Those guys are just trying to make it through the game. Right. If you would. So I didn't get a lot of it from offensive guys. How
about on your side of the ball on defense?
Defensive side, that's where the trash talk. And I tell you what, I'm not a trash talking guy, But if you had to vote, let me ask you guys something. Position wise, which positions on average you think talk the most trash?
I would say defensive tackle, but that's just me.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm gonna say cornerbacks. The cornerbacks and wideouts, they got those, you know?
Yeah. And I was going with the defensive line.
Okay.
But you're right. You know, the cornerbacks, cornerbacks and receivers, they get into it with each other. Mm-hmm. You see that all the time. All of a sudden they, kind of pulling on each other's face masks.
Yeah.
But I think pure trash talking without it getting any kind of personal stuff. I think sometimes those DBs and receivers, it kind of get personal with those guys. But defensive linemen, it's like, I don't care who's in front of me. I don't even know your name, but I'm still talking trash to you. So I think that the trash talking has to go to the defensive line for us who talk the most trash. Playing with guys, I didn't have a lot of guys that talk trash, the guys I played with, but John Randall, obviously, he used to talk a lot, not in a bad way. He obviously another one who backed it up, but just was real verbal about his game. Man, I was just focused on trying to be the best I could be. But, a couple guys, like I said, John,
Warren,
Sapp, those guys would talk. Pretty much all defensive linemen kind of, got bad attitudes, if you will.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I know you say you're not following the game super closely right now because you got a bunch of other stuff going on as well. But who do you think is some of the premier pass rushers in the game today? I mean, I'm a big Browns fan. I know Myles Garrett has got to be up there.
Yes,
he went to A&M. Yeah. So who are some of the guys that you look at and go, like, this guy's a beast?
Plays for the Rams. What's his name?
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Ooh. Yeah,
they stand out. The other kid, I was looking at him the other night. A smaller guy. Is it with Denver? He's a linebacker.
Von Miller?
Von Miller?
Or
Von Miller.
No, the other side, Chubb.
Yeah, Bradley Chubb.
Might be him. I think it's him.
Chubb.
Yeah, exactly. Some of those kind of guys is just kind of stand out. But the kid from Cleveland, like you said, I think his all-around game, ability to pass rush, is long, lengthy kind of guy. He brings a lot to the table.
Yeah.
Greg, you're a humble guy. We want to give you permission to brag a little bit.
Wow.
What's your
I'm not good at bragging.
What's your proudest moment since starting your production company?
I tell you what, probably the most notable moment, people will say the Carter High movie, because we had major stars and got the most media attention. It actually went in when we did have movie theaters. It went into the movie. It went actually into the movie theaters and did Netflix and BT and all those great things. And I thank God for those things. But you asked the most proudest moment. I'll tell you that play that's called Juneteenth. Juneteenth now is a national holiday. And I partnered with this lady. She's now about 94 years old, I think. And you can Google her. Her name is Opal Lee. And she's walked for Juneteenth to become a national holiday for several years. We produced and did our Juneteenth play before I met her. But as I was doing it, I was like, man, I would love to meet her. And sure enough, met her and, helped to partner with her to push for Juneteenth to become a national holiday. That play has got a lot of media attention, especially not this past June, but the year that Floyd, had the incident up in Minnesota. A lot of coverage, man, was given to it, and knowing that you're a part of something that actually helped. We garnished over 1 million signatures to help Juneteenth to become a national holiday. So that would, by far be the most proudest moment, because that's history. And when people look that stuff up, somewhere in there, they're gonna find that this retired NFL, Dallas Cowboy, Oakland Raider football player had a play that contribute to garnishing the signatures that helped Juneteenth to become a national holiday.
That's incredible. You got to be the only NFL player on earth who's had a hand in having a national holiday created. That's incredible, man, and that definitely deserves a lot of respect. Nice work.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Greg, we're going to let you go here soon, brother. But I want to know, now that you transitioned to coaching, you're getting ready for your first season as head coach at Texas College. How does the excitement of a new season compared to your time as a player now that you're a coach? Obviously, you're not as juiced up, you know what I mean? But it's a different type of game. You got to be more on your mental and everything like that, right?
No, and you're exactly right. You have to be more on your mental. Just all the small components that it takes to have a successful football season, successful game, because it's not just as a head coach. I'm also the athletic director here as well. So it's not just the X and O's of football. It's everything in between that you might not be the one doing everything, but you are the one that has to be responsible to make sure all of it happens. I mean, imagine if we showed up and we didn't have any football helmets, you know what I mean? Yep. So you have to make sure all of those things get facilitated.
You're a renaissance man, doing the logistics, scheduling games, teaching players, coaching the team and everything, man. Mess around. I'm going to send you my taxes, brother. I'm not playing. I
don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. But I want to ask you, how's your team looking this year? I know you've had over a year since you've been named the head coach. You've had a little bit of time to get to know the players. How are they coming together, and what are you expecting for your team this year?
I tell you, we have grown a lot, in my opinion. Just teaching them the importance of doing things the right way. Just the small things. Football just doesn't start with the X and O's of running plays and that type of thing. The importance of conditioning, health, the importance of making sure your grades are good. So it's so many things that factor into the equation. But I can honestly say I'm proud of the guys. And they are, they've shown a tremendous growth, if you would. So, yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to wrap up with a couple things. One, we're going to send you a gift, my friend. We're going to send you a bottle of whiskey. So I'm going to reach out to you and get your address. This is Still Austin, right down the road. This is one of our sponsors. They take really good care of us. So we're going to send you this. But my last question for you, my friend, if Chad and I were two potential high school recruits, and we're, maybe deciding between Texas College and another place to play, why should we come and play for you, man? Give us a little salesman pitch.
Well, coming to Texas College, I want you to understand that we're going to focus on your academics. That's real salesman pitch. I
like it.
I can hear
that. We're talking to the parents and everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to focus on your academics. We want you to be successful on the football field, but we also want you to be a successful student. And even beyond being a successful student, we want you to graduate. We want you to become a career-long learner, never turning it off, being able to, if it's your desire to own a company, if it's your desire to work for a company, we want to make sure that we have done all in our power to help that to happen for you. So when you leave, you're not going back home, living with your parents. You're going to become an independent adult and responsible adult. That's what we use football here as that type of tool to help you develop holistically as a person.
Where I sign, Coach. I'm ready. Give me some cleats, man. Give me some cleats.
Make sure you bring that mash shirt with you, okay?
I got you, brother. Hey, he's a former Cowboy, former Raider, current coach at Texas College. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach_Ellis. Instagram, it's at GEllis98. Coach, we really appreciate you coming on the show. This is an honor to be able to speak to you after me growing up watching you play. Tony and I both watched you play as we were youngsters and stuff, man. So there's a great privilege to be able to speak to you, Coach. And we're going to be rooting for you big time this year, brother, for sure.
Well, thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
All right, that was an awesome interview with former Cowboy, former Raider, current Texas College head coach Greg Ellis.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun, dude. His stories about Warren Sapp running through on purpose while they're all stretching out. Yep. The Bill Parcells stuff, the Terrell Owens stuff. There's a lot that stood out from that interview. But just a cool, interesting guy who's been so successful after his NFL career. And I didn't realize how big of a role he had with his film actually having an impact with the signatures that he was gathering to get a national holiday for Juneteenth. That was impressive, man.
Yeah, it's like we said, man. He's a true renaissance man. He's doing all kinds of different stuff. I don't know any NFL players that have written plays that have been successful. Made a movie and everything like that went straight to theaters. Wasn't Samuel L. Jackson? He was in that.
I know.
Or am I thinking Coach Carter? I'm thinking about something else.
Vivica A. Fox was the headliner from Carter High.
Yeah, okay, but It's amazing what he's accomplished in his career, man. That guy is a true renaissance man. He's also very intelligent. I didn't get to say this either, unfortunately, man, but he's got an awesome head of hair on him too, man. I'm a little jealous.
For
I was gonna tell him next time he gets a haircut, send me some of that shit.
Him and Randy Cross might be our two best hair guys that we've had on the show so far.
Yeah, man. Those dudes are like twice my age too, man. not Greg though. He's still a young guy, but yeah.
It's impressive. Hey, we're going to have another show next week, Chad. Are you going to have your beard match your shirt again next week? For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, that's impressive.
Dude, I didn't even notice that till you said something.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that was an accident. Yeah, I'm sure that was a total accident.
Dude, this shirt was clean. This is what it was, man. This shirt didn't have children's dookie on it. That's what it was.
The dad life.
Yeah, it did not have my son's latest meal on it. So I was like, you know what, man, MASH today. I guess that's what we're going to do. You know what I'm saying? But no, that's pretty cool, man. I didn't even notice that. I'm going to change as soon as I get in the fucking car, man. As soon as I hop in that Volvo, this shirt's coming off. I'm going to be that goofball driving around with this shirt off, man. Smoking blunts and shit. You know what I'm saying? Who gives a shit? But no, man, that's a great interview. It's awesome to talk to this guy because, like I said, we grew up watching him and everything. Super cool guy, man.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah. So before we go, let's tell everybody about OddsShark once more. OddsShark is your source for the latest odds from leading authorities, expert editorial content, and detailed matchup picks. Are you looking for statistics and trends for an upcoming game? Well, guess what? OddsShark has that too, and it's free. In-depth expert analysis, stats, numbers, and trends to help you make the sharp game day picks. Whether you want to check out tonight's football odds, this week's hockey or basketball trends, or anything in between, head on over to OddsShark and start thinking like a shark today. We detailed them at the beginning of the show. If you're going to place a bet, you'd be a fool not to go there. Anytime I'm getting ready to place a bet, that's the first thing I do. I mean, I'm already on OddsShark all the time, reading about articles, trying to see. I like all their editorial content on there. They got some great staff writers and everything.
Yeah, check them out on Twitter too. A lot of times they'll come out with some really cool content and update some lines and with some good tweets. Check us out on Twitter as well at DNP-CD Sports. Same handle for Instagram as well. Facebook.com/DNP-CD Sports.
Yeah, hit us up. Give us a follow. Tell your friends about the show. Review the show. Subscribe. All that stuff. All that stuff helps us out immensely. You know, it's just me and Tony here. And Hot Pie Media helping us out. But any help you can give us, we greatly appreciate it, man. That's how we grow the show. It's how we get even bigger guests on and stuff, too.
Absolutely. And if you go to hotpiemedia.com, you can also check out our newsletter so you can follow the show a little bit more closely. We'll send you some emails, keep you posted with what's coming up on the show as well.
Yeah, check out hotpiemedia.com for other podcasts that are awesome. Pretty much any genre you can think of, Hot Pie's got it covered. You can check out our past episodes as well. Like Tony said, our newsletter. Give us a follow on all social media platforms. We are at DNP-CD Sports. This is a great episode, man.
For sure. Can't wait for next week, dude.
I know. I hope we get a guest for next week. No, we got one, I think. Yeah, I'm saying. But yeah, so we appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for watching. Please tell your friends about the show. For Tony, I'm Chad. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.